Okay, I think we're here. I have not streamed in a hot minute, and so I wanted to try coming back. Hi everybody. It's the night before the Oscars, and I thought it'd be fun to just go on live for a little bit for as long as people are here, and we'll just chat about the Oscars, look at the spreadsheet, talk about what we're thinking in major categories and stuff like that, and just have some fun. Maybe just do a deep dive in the spreadsheet. I don't even know. Let's figure it out together. But we're gonna have some fun. So I'm going to really quickly get this set up with the what was I saying? With the spreadsheet, and then we will get rocking and rolling. So give me just a second. We're gonna capture this. We're gonna capture the record book. There we go. I will need to fix this, but that's okay. Something like that, and then I'm gonna move myself over here, make myself a smidge bigger, and we'll call that a day. In fact, I'll even flip my camera so it looks like I'm facing the spreadsheet. Just so you know, it's just so it looks like I'm actually looking at the spreadsheet. So okay, here we go. I'm also actually gonna do this just so I can see chat. Does that make things weird? It kind of does. Okay. Sorry. I haven't streamed in a while, and so I'm trying to make sure I'm doing a decent job. But I'm realizing I just messed all of this up. So let's make this small. We'll put this right there. And then so we'll kind of put it in the middle, just something like that. And then we'll keep rocking and rolling. What's up with this? 6,800. Okay. Let me fix this again. Sorry, it's been a while. I just want to make sure that everything is working properly and everything is doing well. Okay, so let's do this. Since it wants it to be higher, we're gonna make it higher. And then I'm going to put a little background on this, just so it's not a little, just so it's not like a black background. I want it to kind of look nice. There we go. There's my normal little gradient. We're gonna put this ba-bam right there. Make this bigger, and hot diggity dog, we are in business. All right, so let's talk about the Oscars. Let's talk about what we're thinking in some major categories. Feel free to chat if you've got. Whoa, I'm going everywhere. There we go. So yeah, if you've got any questions, thoughts, anything like that, we can chat about some Oscars things. I do have my spreadsheet handy. I'll even get. I'm gonna get award. I'm gonna get award expert going as well. Award expert, just in case we want to. Whoa, hey yo. There we go. Let's just hit the brakes on that. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, this is probably all the stuff I should have done beforehand, but what are you gonna do? Sometimes you just do your thing, and that's all you can do. Okay, let's try this. Nope. Yep. There we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're getting somewhere. Uh-oh. Now it looks like I'm kind of lagging a little bit. Maybe I need to turn off my internet. Maybe that would be helpful. Okay. Let's try that. Let's see what we're doing. We'll go here. And then I will just put that away for now if we need to. Okay. Is there anybody in the chat yet? Let's pull chat up. See what chat is doing. Hello. Hi. Sorry. Okay. I realized I did not have the chat open, but now I have it open. So we are here. Hello. Welcome to the Oscars Eve live stream. So we'll talk about Oscars things. I can hopefully clarify what we're doing in certain categories. Maybe we can just have some healthy discussions and whatnot. But yeah, let's do this thing. So let me get a better view of chat. I'm still very new to this, and so I apologize. And okay, this is it. That's it. I keep imagining, and I lied to you upset, but I can't commit to predicting it. Okay, let's talk about that. Yeah, we can certainly talk about that. Hello. Do we want to work? There she is. Wow, I got so much stuff pulled up. Let's cut this down a little bit. Don't need this. There we go. We're cleaning it up. That's all we're doing. Okay. Here we are. All right. So, we'll go down to best song. Here's the thing. I think there could be a world where I Lie to You upsets. I mean, there's so many categories where Sinners is the number 2 option. I would point to costume design and production design and makeup and hairstyling and director and picture and all. There's so many categories where Sinners is number 2, and I think song is one of those. Here's the thing to think about with Golden. Aside from the fact that it's won all of the precursors, and I Lied to You only won the Guild Award for Drama, Golden is the biggest song in the world right now. Bigger than Shallow, bigger than We Don't Talk About Bruno. I would say just as big as Let It Go was. It's that level of big right now. I do think there's a world where I think I Lied to You could win. Obviously that scene being such a big part of the movie really helps it. But any of those Academy members, if they have kids, they're playing Golden on repeat. If they are around kids in any capacity, they're hearing Golden everywhere. Golden was nominated for Song of the Year at the Grammys. It's that big. And so I feel like I just have to stick with Golden. So that's kind of where I'm at with Golden. We can look back at some of those previous years where there were some big songs and they just didn't quite do anything. Shallow, Swept. This we're going into before there was a guild for composers and lyricists. So take all this with a grain of salt. But Shallow, Swept Everywhere, that was the biggest movie song of the year in a world where there was Black Panther. Let's go to what else did I say? Let It Go. We can go to Let It Go. 2014. We'll go all the way down to Song. Let It Go. It lost a Golden Globe. I don't even know what Ordinary Love is, but Let It Go was a ginormous cultural phenomenon, and like that still went on to win the Oscar no problem. And so I feel like I just have to go with Golden just because it's so big. Every song that has won both Golden Globes and Critics' Choice that was nominated for the Oscar won. So yeah, I can't predict the upset. And I feel like that is the story for a lot of these categories where Sinners is number 2. Where like in my heart of hearts, I want to predict the Sinners upset to win Best Picture, but the precursors are on its side, and you just can't deny it. We can go to some of the stats for song. Yeah, I haven't done a combined one yet. I need to do that actually. So I mean, song is iffy. I mean, obviously this year this stat will get a boost. I mean, if Golden wins, all 3 of these stats are going to get a boost because, um, be, um, but I do actually need to do, I guess that was, I guess we could do, because normally what I like to do when I group these up together, where it's like I do the individual categories and then there's like a combined one where it's this category plus this, or this precursor plus this cursor win, does that go on to win the Oscar? And so when I do that, I usually keep Golden Globe and Critics' Choice together, and then I keep the Guild and the BAFTA together. But because there's no BAFTA category for song, I haven't done that. But I will do a Golden Globe win and Critics' Choice win. So let me make this real quick. This is a peek behind the scenes at all of the. This is what I had to do for literal hours to make this spreadsheet happen. And then you just go in through all the spreadsheets and you look for any song or any winner that won both Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, and you see if they ended up winning the Oscar, and then you go from there. So there we go. Yeah, exactly. There's like 5 categories where I could predict a Sinners upset, but based on what? Exactly. I mean, the best you have is based on vibes. That's really it. I want to predict the Sinners upset in Best Picture, but it's just vibes, and it's the fact that it's adding a win in Michael B. Jordan most likely, and that it won ensemble at SAG, but even ensemble at SAG is not a great precursor for the Oscar. Which in my spreadsheet I kind of included in here because I want to mark the impact that SAG Ensemble has on the Oscar race, but because there isn't a best ensemble category at the Oscars, there's a casting category, but that's a different thing. But I want to be able to mark it somehow, and to me it feels most linked to Best Picture than anything. So I just include it there. Let me see if I have it in the stats. Yeah, SAG Ensemble win goes on to win 13 of 25 times. And so, I mean, it's kind of middle of the pack in terms of how good that precursor is. Critics' Choice winner, 17 out of 25. Golden Globe Best Picture win, 12 out of 25. Less than half. But PGA, 18 of 25. That's a great precursor. BAFTA, 10 out of 25. A horrible precursor. And then you have all of these other secondary ones. Does it have a director win? Does it have a screenplay win? Does it have a directing win and a screenplay win? And all of these. This is where I think this one specifically is where One Battle After Another really benefits. Because there have been plenty of movies in the past 10-ish years where a movie has only won director or screenplay and still won Best Picture. I mean, you have Oppenheimer, didn't win screenplay. You have Coda, didn't win director, wasn't even nominated in director. You have Nomadland, didn't win in screenplay. You have I'm going to keep going. Green Book wasn't even nominated in director. You have Shape of Water. I don't remember if that one won screenplay or not, actually. I don't think it did. No, yeah, it was Get Out. So Shape of Water doesn't win screenplay. You have Moonlight, doesn't win director. You have Spotlight, doesn't win director. So, it's you can have movies that don't win both, but when you have a movie that wins both, it wins basically every time. The only time, which I might need to double check this because I heard this in a video and it would go against what this says. The only film to lose Best Picture while having both a screenplay and a director win is Brokeback Mountain back in 2006. Let's go to that year. That's a fun little year to talk about. But I mean, here's the thing: Crash had SAG Ensemble, so maybe you draw this comparison. But I mean, you're talking about a completely different race in a completely different time period where you have the mid 2000s where everybody is kind of crapping on Brokeback Mountain as just being the gay cowboy movie, and then you have Crash just being the one that speaks to this kind of old white Academy voter base. But that has changed a lot in the last 20 years now. And so I guess you could say maybe, I don't know, Ang Lee did sweep the director race. Maybe this is an interesting comparison. It is different, but this is an interesting comparison because Ang Lee sweeping director of Brokeback Mountain. You have your two screenplay winners sweeping the whole time. Where, I mean, Golden Globe and Critics' Choice at the time both had just one shared screenplay category. Crash wins Critics' Choice. Brokeback Mountain wins Golden Globe. And between WGA, BAFTA, and Oscar, those two films swept in those precursors. This is actually a very similar layout to what we're getting right now. The only difference, I guess, really is obviously the voter base, obviously the vibes of the films. Both of those, both One Battle After Another and Sinners being films that people want to celebrate. And then the fact that Critics' Choice now has an original and an adapted category. This is actually a kind of this is actually a very similar comparison. Because, Brokeback Mountain, although I guess there is one difference here where Crash, which was the upsetter, I don't know, actually. This is still looking kind of similar because Brokeback Mountain won drama at Golden Globe. Although Crash and Brokeback Mountain would have been in the same category at Golden Globe. So it's hard to tell. And then, comedy musical, One Battle After Another fits in there, whereas Crash or Brokeback Mountain, neither one of those fit in that category. And so, I don't know, just an interesting little comparison that I just found. I did also hear somewhere today that Traffic was one of the films that it won director and it won a screenplay award and didn't win Best Picture, and I need to confirm that. That is okay. That is true. Interesting. So let me actually update that. This is why we do this. So we're going to say 10, 12 times. We're going to update this note. 2 films to lose Best Picture with both a screenplay and a director win. Which is Brokeback are in Brokeback Mountain. In 2001, did not win screenplay in 2006. Crash one or the other. Okay. Ba-bam. Nice and updated now. Thank you. Yeah. This is why we do this. I am a flawed person, and I need to be corrected sometimes. But I'm constantly updating this. We're going to keep updating this as the 21st century goes along. I can't wait in like 10 years when this spreadsheet is just absolutely monstrous and is just so full of stats. Like, these stats are going to have 35 and 45 different outcomes that we can lean on. Casting is going to have a good wealth of knowledge that we can talk about and look to. But also, it's so fun to see how those things change over time, because things have changed over time. So it's fun. What I'm kind of wrestling with right now is, I don't know, it feels like everybody is predicting the same things, and I feel like something has to go different, right? Like, I feel like something has to change. Like, what do the Oscars have up their sleeve that they're not telling us? The one year that I think of that was like so overwhelmingly predictable, where I only missed one category, was the 94th Oscars, Coda's Best Picture win. It was just so obvious what was happening at that point, to where it's just, I don't know, you couldn't, the one thing I missed was animated short film, and the one that I actually wanted to win was the one that won, and I didn't predict it. And so was, yeah, all of us agreeing on every tech category feels so off. It really does. And my thinking is, if Sinners goes up a category, no matter what it is, if Sinners gets an extra win somewhere, we need to be on red alert. We need to be on red alert. But if it's just something random, I'm not going to just think it's Sinners. Unless it's like One Battle losing something, then maybe. But still, I don't think there's that level of like hatred for One Battle After Another. I think everybody's just wanting to celebrate One Battle After Another, and I think people are also just wanting to celebrate Sinners too. And like, that's okay. But let's talk about some below the lines. Like, One Battle, this was like a weird race up until the Guild Award or the Industry Awards, because like Sinners was the critics sweeper, and then Train Dreams won Critics' Choice, and then from there it was just One Battle. I was like, oh, okay, so it's just One Battle then. Editing is interesting, where the Eddie Award could have gone with F1 over Sinners. They went with Sinners over F1 at the Eddie Awards, which is cool. It's very cool of them. But the BAFTA still went for One Battle After Another. And so a lot of people are kind of thinking that that's kind of the movie. I think a lot of people think of the pacing as well in One Battle After Another being an achievement, because that movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and it barely feels like 2 hours. I think Frankenstein costume design, makeup, I don't think we're going to see any shakeup in that. Just Frankenstein is the big period gothic kind of vibe, and it's Guillermo del Toro who's kind of known for that stuff, bringing that stuff to his movies. I mean, Avatar's going to win visual effects. Sinners has the only industry win in casting that's nominated at the Oscar, because I Swear isn't at the Oscar, and Jay Kelly isn't at the Oscar. Sound is I mean, you're thinking it's F1. That could be Sinners, but Sinners doesn't have any wins at all this season, and F1 has a really good stat of having a BAFTA win and a Guild win, which I talked about this in one of my videos. It's just a really good combo. It's 11 of the 13 times, but the 2 times that it happened was the 2015 movies and 2005 movies, and we're in 2025 movies. So it's just a weird, like, little 10-year coincidence. So maybe we'll see that stat break this year. Sinners has swept in score. Train Dreams isn't nominated. It was just won the Independent Award at the Society of Composers and Lyricists. Golden has swept for song. Documentary is weird, but I think I did switch my prediction to The Perfect Neighbor just because it's Netflix. It's the more accessible one. I think Mr. Nobody Against Putin is definitely number 2. I think it definitely has a shot to win, but I'm going with The Perfect Neighbor just because it's the most nominated across all the guilds or across all of the precursors, and it's the most accessible, and it's has that like true crime documentary element. And then international feature is an interesting one, but we can talk about that in a second. I need to read this. Yeah, the argument that One Battle isn't 1917 or La La Land is one of the strongest arguments to me. I think that's the main thing, is that One Battle isn't losing steam. Sinners is definitely gaining momentum, but One Battle hasn't lost any of its momentum. Because, I mean, even at SAG, where Sinners had its great showing, it still won for Sean Penn. Like, it still won a SAG award. It still has PGA, DGA, WGA. It still won at BAFTA. Like, Sean Penn still won at BAFTA. Like, it has won Guild Awards. It won the ASC. It won ACE. It won BSC. It won the Eddie. Like, it's still around. It's still doing things. And even with, let's take 1917. 1917 didn't have any showing at SAG. 0 nominations at SAG. Not even SAG Ensemble. Yeah. So there's like, that one was really weird. And that one was kind of a weird year where early on in the season, it was supposed to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then 1917, as Sam Mendes kept winning awards and as Roger Deakins was campaigning in cinematography, and that started to become a thing. And then that kind of took over. And then all the while, Parasite was kind of around. But Parasite won SAG Ensemble. Parasite had tied at director at Critics' Choice. Parasite, let's see, original screenplay. Parasite won BAFTA and WGA. And like Tarantino's not part of the WGA, so it's not nominated. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is very unapologetically like 60s USA. Let me fix this. It's very unapologetically 60s USA, and so it might not be what BAFTA goes for. So it's just this. I mean, so that comparison doesn't really track. I mean, having no acting nominations for 1917 like is something to consider. And then the Moonlight La La Land year, Moonlight had the drama Golden Globe. It was always winning a screenplay award. Like at like I don't know. It was once it. I mean, everywhere else in the season, it was considered original, so it wasn't really winning those things because you have Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea, you have Damien Chazelle for La La Land. But when it was considered adapted at the Oscars, that's when it was like it's gonna win a screenplay award because Arrival's not really the kind of screenplay movie the Oscars go for. Lion is probably not as prominent. I mean, you have Moonlight winning an acting award. So, I mean, there are similarities. But, I mean, there was just a different vibe in there as well. La La Land kind of coming off of this Oscars So White controversy. And there was this, off of like a couple years in a row of this Oscars So White campaign. And so there was kind of an energy around that time at the Oscars where people kind of wanted to do something different and didn't want to go with the safe, mostly white cast and the same kind of movies that always win Best Picture. But instead, Moonlight really marked a shift in the Academy and what they valued and the types of movies that they wanted to win. And we can see that in the next year in Shape of Water and Three Billboards, which was definitely much more of a two-headed race. Like, look at how this alternated all season long. between The Shape of Water and Three Billboards, but Three Billboards didn't have a director nomination. I mean, Three Billboards is kind of your like safe, kind of mostly white cast. Has that kind of Oscar bait kind of vibe to it. And Shape of Water is this kind of fantastical play on this kind of political story. And so I don't know. It's just interesting to see how the Oscars have changed, how the Academy has changed in that time. It's just been interesting. Yeah, it's just fun. This is the fun time where I get really really anxious and I have no idea what to do. So we'll have to wait and see tomorrow. I can also take a look at Award Expert if we want to. We can see what other people are doing. It's kind of been acting up for me lately. But we can definitely look at that in a second if we want to. Let me see any other categories. I mean, international features really interesting. It's kind of a two-horse race between The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value. I am curious what people are saying in Award Expert. So let me actually. Hold on. What are we doing? Where is it? Okay, let me fix this. Hold on. I'm doing this on the fly. There she is. All right, I gotta just shrink this window a bunch. You're gonna see a little mini Apple logo in the corner, maybe. Nah, you'll be okay. So here we go. Award Expert. Kaboom. Kablow. And then we'll go. This is fun. Okay. Here we go. We'll just put her there. There we go. All right. That was stupid. Why did I say that? All right. Any viewers I had are gone. But thanks for sticking around, Andy, if you're still here. Yeah, I want to see what people are doing, especially in international feature, because it's so crazy. It is kind of a two-horse race. Let's see what the community on Award Expert is doing, if this will load. There she is. Okay, 78% still saying it's sentimental value. I mean, my argument for sentimental value is that it has a director nomination. It has 4 acting nominations. The support has been there, and I have no reason to think it's gonna be The Secret Agent. I really don't. Let's see what the people I follow are doing. I do know that Brother Bro and Oscar Expert are switching to The Secret Agent, which is intriguing to me, but again, I'm just not sure. My friend Drew thinks it's sentimental value. Friend Taylor thinks it's sentimental value. Adriano, sentimental value. Nathan, sentimental value. Matt Neglia thinks it's sentimental value. So I don't know. It's hard to tell right now. Sweet. Thanks for sticking around, Andy. It's fun to have you here. It's not as fun to just talk to nobody, but I can do it. I do it regularly when I film my videos. Yeah, so I don't know. That's a fun little race. I feel like that could be a toss up. What if this would be crazy, and I don't think this will ever happen, but what if in international feature it comes full circle and it was just an accident? It just ends up winning out of nowhere. Oh my gosh, that would be great. That would be so funny. I do think Sentimental Value is a better movie, but I think if that ended up winning, it would be kind of interesting. Yeah, if you have any other thoughts or questions or just things you want to ask about the award season that we can talk about, let's do it. It's my favorite in the category, so I'd like that. I mean, it's a fantastic movie. I loved all 5 of Neon's films. I'm so pissed that No Other Choice did not make it in. I'm so pissed that the Academy hates Park Chan-wook for some reason. Because No Other Choice was my first ever Park Chan-wook film, and I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. And I had to like watch that movie and love the mess out of it, all for the Academy to just break my heart and not nominate it for anything. And so I loved all 5 of Neon's films this year. The Secret Agent was phenomenal, really, really good. It was just an accident, fantastic. The ending of that movie especially was so good. The like 12-minute unbroken like shot where they have the guard tied to the tree, insane work. Surat, I rewatched Surat maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and like I really liked it the first time I watched it, but I really connected with Surat the second time I watched it. And if you get the chance to watch Surat in a theater, I cannot recommend that enough, because the sound design and the score are so brilliant, and it deserves the big screen treatment. There's not a ton of films where I am like, you have to see it on the big screen, because I understand that not everybody gets the chance to see them on the big screen. They're not as eager to go out and see it on the big screen. But Surat is one of those where the sound really matters in that film, and the big screen presentation really helps with it. Spinal Value, I've gushed about for ages. I love that movie. I think it's the best acted movie of the year. It's my number 2 movie of the year. And then obviously No Other Choice is fantastic. I loved it. Not quite on the No Other Choice train, but it is quite wild that this has happened to him twice. I know. I wish I wish I'd seen Decision to Leave, where I could have an opinion on it. I haven't watched it. It's on my list. My friend Colin is really into Park Chan-wook, and so he's been kind of helping me kind of guide into it. But like, gosh, look at this. BAFTA, Critics' Choice, Golden Globe, just to get shafted at the Oscar. But I don't know. Let me look at something. Why does Park Chan-wook get snubbed from the Oscars? I mean, there's gotta be some bigger reason. I don't think it's this. I don't think it's just because the international feature slate was just too packed with bangers. I don't think it's that. I mean, I have not watched The Voice of Hind Rajab yet. I'm going to soon. But I don't get why he keeps getting snubbed. I don't get why he's snubbed. He's been snubbed twice now in the last 5 years. Like, why? I don't know if you saw this. That Neon put up this billboard for after No Other Choice got snubbed, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. I just think that's so funny. I think that's great. I think, and that's very funny of Neon to do, considering Neon got 4 other movies in the category and got nominations outside of Best or International Feature. But I do think it's great. I do think it is pretty funny that he did that. I never believed Neon would go 5 out of 5, and I just think the other 4 picked up steam where they needed to. That, I think, is true. I think Neon, I mean, there's definitely something to say about how the Oscars feel about Park Chan-wook. But at least in this year, they had 5 international films that they were trying to campaign. And, I mean, getting 4... Sorry, I bumped my bookshelf right here. Getting 4 in international features, crazy. And it's so good that they were able to do that. And I think this is the most high-profile international feature lineup we've ever gotten, which is amazing. but I mean, No Other Choice was like the last one to come out. It came out very limited theaters at Christmas time, and so I think the others just had a better chance of being seen, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, it was just an accident. Has been around since Cannes. Obviously, being the Palme d'Or winner was huge for that movie. And Jafar Panahi's whole story. You have Sentimental Value by Joachim Trier with Renate Reinsve, who Joachim Trier had been previously nominated for the worst person in the world, so they're familiar with that film. Sentimental Value is also about filmmakers, which gives them an edge there. You have Surat, which I am shocked that Surat ended up as an awards movie that ended up getting 2 Oscar nominations, because that movie is so unapologetically bleak, and it's bleak is the best word for it. It's bleak to a degree where I wouldn't have expected the Academy to do that, because it relies so heavily on electronic music and raves and stuff like that, and real ravers, and like it's just not the type of movie that I would ever think the Oscars would go for. But for them to not only get that into international feature, but to also nominate that in sound was very cool. I do think as a whole, the nominees this year at the Oscars were really, really great. It was a really, really good bunch, and a lot of the nomination surprises that we got were like really, really cool. Things like Sentimental Value getting in editing, things like One Battle After Another getting in production design, seeing like a contemporary film get in production design, Surat getting in sound. They just did a lot of really cool things. I remember when I once thought director this year would be a PTA versus Panahi battle. Dude, I really wish Panahi would have gotten in. I need to see my history, because I can let's go back to like when I first did them. I love this thing. Okay. Wicked, Springsteen, It Was Just an Accident at House of Dynamite. I mean, there's Panahi there. I don't know if I had ever considered him for the win. I'd have to look. Let's jump forward till December 1st. Let's go to December 1st. Yep, so It Was Just an Accident higher. Panahi a little higher. Let's jump forward 2 weeks. Yep, there he is. Panahi's at number 2. Just that movie was making the rounds. I had actually seen the movie by this point, and I was loving it, and I was all on Panahi's train. So anyways, what a crazy year it's been. What a crazy year it's been. I'm also just now realizing that you cannot see my award expert screen. That stinks. I apologize for that. But anyways, yeah. I wish Panahi was in the director conversation, because that movie was so good. But I honestly, PTA, it's about dang time that he won an Oscar. It's about dadgum time. I can't. He needs it. He needs this. He absolutely needs this. There we go. Alrighty. What else can we talk about? What else are we feeling on edge about for tomorrow night? I will have a reaction video for sure. I'm going to try and get it out that night, because I figured I was able to get a better recording process, because my living room's just over there. And I figured out a better process for recording and editing on the go. But I don't know if I'll be able to do that with Oscars. I'm hosting a little watch party. But I will for sure be filming my reactions, and my watch party attendees know that. Do you have any thoughts on the shorts categories? Yeah, let's talk about the shorts categories. Let me get award expert back up in here. I mean, at this point, it kind of feels like it's the typical 3. Although documentary short is kind of up in the air, live action short's kind of up in the air. I think the only one that is like absolutely going to win, I think, is Butterfly in animated short. I think that is a no-brainer. I think that is happening, and I think we can take it to the bank. I mean, I think The Girl Who Cried Pearls was great. I really enjoyed that one a lot. But Butterfly, like if you watch all of them, which technically you're supposed to do if you're in the academy, I think Butterfly is the absolute, like, absolutely the best one. It's undisputed that it's the best one. So I think Butterfly is going to win. For documentary short, it's gonna, I think, be between All the Empty Rooms and Only with a Camera. And I guess the question is, which very sad documentary short do they want to go for? I'd mentioned this in my prediction video. I don't know if there's any precursors for the shorts. If there are, I'd love to know about them. I need to look into some I'm just realizing I've got 2 cursors. Let's blam, get that one out of here. There we go. I would love for there to be some sort of precursor. If there is, I'll get it on the spreadsheet. But I just don't know of any, and so that is something I'll look into at some point. But I think All the Empty Rooms is probably the winner. I mean, it's the difference between a school shooting short film and a war death short film. And so in watching the two, I actually think Only with a Camera was probably my favorite one. As I don't know, this wasn't my favorite crop for documentary shorts. I try to watch all of them. I wasn't able to watch Children No More and Perfectly Strangeness. All the Empty Rooms was really profound when it was focused on the victims and their families. But there's a lot of that short that is just focused on that journalist, and I'm just like, dude, just get off the screen. Like, get off the screen, dude. Like, just keep the focus on the victims and the families. That's what's emotionally moving and resonant. And Armed Only with a Camera is not as much about, you know, the tragedy of how he was killed in the Ukraine and Russia war, but it's more about Brent Renaud himself and the kind of work he was doing. It focuses a lot on the various different wars that he was shooting for and capturing and sending that footage back home. It stays really focused on a lot of those different things, kind of intercut with scenes from his death and funeral and all that stuff. But what I think tipped me over to Armed Only with a Camera was that there was specifically a couple of editing choices that I really loved in Armed Only with a Camera that really emotionally impacted me. A great example of that is it's near the end. I think it's set in like 2001, 2003, something like that, where a different soldier is killed in the line of duty, and Brent Renaud is capturing all of these soldiers as they're saluting their fallen brother in arms, and then he gets like a close-up on one soldier who's like has to be stoic and saluting, but like he's crying and he's shedding like 2 or 3 tears, and then it like smash cuts to his funeral, and it was just so profoundly moving that like this is the kind of thing that Brent Renaud was capturing, and he was killed just for capturing how the war is impacting people. Like, he wasn't doing anything, participating in any way in the war. He's just capturing it. And to just the smash cut to his funeral, like, really, really got me. But I think All the Empty Rooms is probably going to be the one that will resonate more. I mean, let's take a look at oh, I don't have it on the spreadsheet. I really don't know. The Devil is Busy was my favorite, followed by All the Empty Rooms. Devil is Busy is not my favorite. There's some more personal reasons behind that, but I'll spare you the details. But yeah, All the Empty Rooms was really good as well. It wasn't the best crop, I don't think, for documentaries, but it was good. I think animated short was largely pretty good. I think there were 4 pretty solid animated shorts, and then there were 3 really solid live action shorts. I saw you had another comment. Let me see. I'm not nearly that confident in animated short. Interesting. What are you thinking in animated short? Because I'm like pretty set on it being Butterfly. And I just think if you watch Butterfly, it's far and away the best one here. Not only because of how beautifully animated it is, but because it also like captures this like PTSD and this trauma from being in a prison camp during World War II, which I think a lot of Academy voters will really want to get behind and get that short's creative team on stage. I don't know. I just think The Girl Who Cried Pearls, I think the moral of the story is not as overt. I just don't know if the Academy is going to get behind it. Also, stop motion is not super popular in that. It could be Forever Green. Forever Green plays a lot like a Pixar short, which it's charming. It's got a cute little story, very well animated. I think Retirement Plan was really, really good. It's super short. It's only like 7 or 8 minutes, but I found Retirement Plan to be really profound. But I think people will see that animation style and maybe not think too much of it. I just think Butterfly is like the most impressive one, technically, being made with all of these oil paintings or regular paintings. I'm not sure which one, honestly. But also the subject matter and the themes and what makes that story so fascinating. Let me take a look-see. Animated short is actually the one category where no title being called out would shock me. Butterfly is also my 4th favorite, so that's probably part of our difference in perspective. That's fair. I think that it's tough when you're making predictions, especially in the shorts, to not factor in your bias. My favorite of all of the shorts last year was In the Shadow of the Cypress, and that one I thought was like number 4 to win the Oscar, and it ended up winning. And so that was just one of those ones where I was like, man, maybe I should have listened to my gut. Let's take a look at last year. Going all the way to the bottom. Yeah, I had In the Shadow of the Cypress in number 4. But dadgummit, I loved that one. It was so beautiful. The story was so good. And same with live action short too. I'm Not a Robot was my favorite one. And I thought there's no way that movie is winning live action short, and it won. So last year was a good year for my like favorite documentaries to actually win. I don't know if I'll see that same success this year, but one can hope. Live action short is the one where I am like really wrestling with it. Let me fix this. Sorry. Yeah, live action short is the one where I am like really wrestling with it and trying to figure out what I want to do. Because I could see a world where all of these first 3 could end up winning. Two People Exchanging Saliva is the like very artsy, very French, and very experimental and creative short. Has a very strong artistic vision, and I think a lot of people will like that. But the Academy tends to go for more English speaking stuff, which I guess Butterfly doesn't really fit that. But or even I guess I'm Not a Robot either last year. But I'm Not a Robot kind of played as I don't know. I really don't know what they'll do this year cuz the excuses I made in my head just got refuted last year. Sorry. So, Two People Exchanging Saliva I think definitely could win. The Singers, because of that being pretty heavily campaigned by Netflix, I think you just have to factor it in. And I thought that one was really sweet. I just always value stories about male vulnerability, male companionship and friendship. And as a musician, I really value short films that capture the power of music. And so I just really liked The Singers. But I think A Friend of Dorothy, the reason why I have that one number one, I mentioned this in my predictions video, it's the more like catch-all kind of short film. It's charming and it's easy to watch and enjoy. It's got a couple more of those kind of hot button issues that it's talked about, where you have this like interracial friendship, and those themes kind of shine through a little bit. You have a young man being introduced into theater and the arts, which I think a lot of people in the Academy especially are really going to appreciate, want to get behind. It's just, I think it's a really simple short film, and I think it's easy for the Academy to latch onto that one. So that's why I'm predicting it. Again, just it's the good like least common, or it's the greatest common denominator of all of the live action shorts. I'm Not a Robot was my favorite too, but I didn't even consider it to win. Yeah, same boat. I just thought it was so interesting. I loved the concept of it, and I loved how it ended. And for that to win, I was so shocked. I was so shocked by that. I mean, let me pull up my reaction to it. I don't ever like doing this. I actually want to watch that soon. You're gonna get to see my whack my algorithm. Let me just go to my channel. I want to watch my reaction again to both I'm Not a Robot and In the Shadow of the Cypress. They were just so shocking. Also, separately, I've lost a ton of weight since this. So this is fun to look at. Let me make sure this is gonna play audio correctly. I did not look to see if this was going to work. Okay, it's not coming through. Let me figure this out. Okay, I might need to do audio input capture. Would it be this one? Nope. Nope. Oh. Okay. Sorry. Let me try something else. We're gonna figure this out. We are going to finish. We're gonna figure this out. It would be this one, I think. Win totally. Yeah, we got it. Okay. It's kind of a beast setting up desktop audio in streaming. Okay. So we're gonna take that away. All right, now it's just gonna be a fun little watch party. Here we are. I've lost about 40 pounds since this, so that's fun. So let's sorry, let me unplug my headphones so I can hear it, and then let's watch my reaction to In the Shadow of the Cypress.
Really deserved. I am a little bummed the Wild Robot didn't win, though. All right, animated short film, very up in the air category. I'm predicting Wander to Wonder. A lot of people are predicting Yuck. My favorite was In the Shadow of the Cypress. It could really be anything. I have no idea. Yes! Let's go! Let's go! Fire! Fantastic! Way to go, Academy. Way to freaking go. Costume design, this should be easy.
That's all I said. Okay. All right. Well, I tried to. I don't know. I think I tried to edit all that kind of short that year. Might not do that as much. I don't know. Depends on what I say when everything happens. Let's do live action short film, because this was another one I was just so incredibly shocked by. Here we go. Theater mode. Let's go. Fire! As written. Live action short film. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Alien. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be Alien. I was going into this one, I really was not sure what was going to happen, because I thought Alien probably had the best shot. The one that's kind of similar where it's on the train, I thought could win. I don't know. That was another weird year where I just wasn't sure what was going to happen. It's the one that screams the hot button topic in your face. You know, I would love I'm Not a Robot to win. I think that was my favorite one, but Alien is just, it's the political one. It's the one that people are going to want to vote for. So that's the one I'm expecting. Oh, let's go. That's awesome. Wait.
That's good.
Wait, this is great. I love, oh my gosh.
Yay.
That's great. This is awesome. I'm always happy to be wrong if it's the one I want. This is, let's go, dude. Some genuine surprises in the short film lineups this year. I was totally not expecting that. That was great. I love it. I keep repeating the same thing, but it's awesome. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's just a fun. It's fun when the Oscars do things that are cool. I think that's the moral of the story this year. And thankfully a lot of these winners are really cool and really fun. And you know, One Battle and Sinners both being great movies, it's just, it makes everything so much easier this year, because there's not even like an Oscars villain. Like, okay, here's kind of where I stand with Sinners and One Battle After Another. In my video, I kind of talked more about just the two movies and the chances they had at winning Best Picture. I've watched both of those movies in the last 2 days. I watched Sinners yesterday, and I watched One Battle earlier today. Sinners is still my favorite movie of the year. But I think if you're talking about which movie deserves to win Best Picture, I am leaning towards One Battle After Another, because I think that film captures a eerily accurate resemblance of American culture right now. Especially with that movie coming out in late September, like a couple of weeks out of from the Charlie Kirk assassination. And say what you will about the dude, but the assassination was still a tragedy. And so being living at that time in this very divisive political time where everybody is kind of seeking unity but is not sure how to get there, that movie coming out and kind of capturing a lot of that political divisiveness and kind of bringing this charge of what are you doing to make the world a better place? How long is our society going to continue on like this? The letter at the end where Perfidia writes to Willa and says, we failed at changing the world, but maybe you're the one to do it. Maybe your generation will be the one to actually make that change. I just found that to be so profound, and I think it it just captures a moment in time. Like it's capturing the current state of society, of American culture, perfectly. And I think a best picture win would be the equivalent of like planting a flag and being like a milestone that we can look back on in the future and see this captured what the political landscape of the world was at that time, and we can just see how have things changed, where have we gone since then. I think One Battle winning best picture would like would do that perfectly. Now, again, Sinners is my favorite movie of the year, so like deep down inside I do still kind of want Sinners to win best picture, but I don't know. I just think One Battle After Another winning best picture would mean more culturally, but I think Sinners winning best picture would mean more in terms of like actual filmmaking and creativity, because I do think Sinners is like a creative masterpiece. It is an absolute and utter masterpiece of creative storytelling, of genre storytelling, of blockbuster storytelling, of genre blending, of creating a film that is so like culturally relevant and so deep with its layers and its themes, but is also about vampires and 1930s Jim Crow era Mississippi and bluegrass music and the celebration of music and the arts. And it's just, gosh, it fires me up. And it's what I love about Sinners is it's the kind of movie that I want to see more. Like, I want to see more movies like Sinners that are completely original and something I've never seen before. And it fires me up because I think about, the movies, like if Sinners is a movie we're getting now, or I guess even a year ago now, like imagine the movies that we can get from young, talented filmmakers like Ryan Coogler in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. Like it just excites me. I think it's the best thing for cinema, for the cinematic arts, and the fact that Sinners was such a dominant box office hit is a huge like exclamation point to everything that works about that movie. It's the cherry on top. It's so good. Man, I love both of those movies for completely different reasons. Even though they both have this same balancing act of being very culturally relevant and profound and still being highly entertaining. I think both of those films really do that well. So, anyways, there's my kind of best picture thoughts where I'm feeling about those two brilliant movies. One of these two movies is going to be best picture probably by this time tomorrow. And that is wild to think about. So there we go. Any other thoughts or anything anything we can discuss about this award season or a previous award season? I need to check up on something here really quickly. So if you've got something, lay it on me, and I'd love to hear it. Does box office performance for One Battle After Another have any impact on its likeliness to win? Great question. It does not. Essentially, how voting works, I can actually probably show you right here, is essentially the Academy is made up of industry professionals in a variety of different branches. So there's an actor's branch, there is a director's branch, there's a writing branch. There's a lot of different branches. I think it's about 10,000 members from all over the world that make up the Academy. And for every other category, they just vote on one of the winners that's in the nominees. It could be for whatever reason they want to. They just pick a winner, and it's a plurality vote. It's whoever gets the most votes is the winner. With Best Picture, it's a little differently, and it's still just their votes. It's still just what they want to vote on for whatever reason they want to vote on it. But it's called a I'm blanking on it. It's called a preferential ballot or preferential vote. So let's say I'm gonna rank the. I'll just rank my top 5 Best Picture movies. One. Oh boy, everything's all messed up. There we go. Sinners, Sentiment of Value. One. I can't type today. One Battle After Another. My number 4, I think was Marty Supreme, and then my number 5, I would probably say The Secret Agent, and then you can keep going from there. But we'll use 5, and then let's say somebody else's. If we just use those 5 examples, let's say somebody else's is One Battle After Another, and then their next one is Sentiment of Value, and then their next one is The Secret Agent, and then let's say theirs is Marty Supreme there, and then their last one is Sinners. Hopefully your opinions will be somewhere on here. I like all these movies. So anyways, so the way that the preferential ballot works is they will count the number 1 votes. To win the preferential ballot, your movie needs to have 50% of all of the votes plus 1. So it has to be a majority. So if there is outright one movie where, if there's one movie that gets 50%, if they get 50.01% of the number 1 votes, that movie will automatically win Best Picture. However, because there are 10 movies, that is all but impossible. And so what they'll do is they'll count up all the number 1 votes, they'll see who has what, and then they'll take away the film that is in last place. So let's say in this hypothetical, we get all of these different votes in, and Sinners is the one with the least number of number 1 votes. What then happens, that vote is not thrown away. What happens is this film, because this one is now gone, that vote now counts towards their number 2 film. And so then this entire ballot, let's say this is all just one ballot, this ballot now goes towards the sentimental value pack. And then we continue. We'll eliminate the one with the least amount of votes. Then we'll move their number 1 votes to their number 2 film. And then let's say we get to a point where, sentimental value gets eliminated. So let's say Sinners gets eliminated first, and then sentimental value gets eliminated. Then my vote, my third one, is One Battle After Another. So now my whole ballot gets counted under one battle after another. Does that make sense? And then you just keep doing that. You keep doing eliminations until you get to one movie that has 50% of the vote plus 1. I'm going to put a link in the chat to video from a guy named Ryan Castleman. He is awesome. He does a lot of really cool, what he calls Oscar science videos. And he will run an experiment for the preferential ballot and show how that works. And then he also has one for the acting awards as well, and using precursors and stuff like that, and trying to figure out the best way you can call some of these close acting races. But I'm going to put the link to this video in this description. Ryan is awesome and funny too. He is great. I love Ryan Castleman's videos. So this video is where I just put it in the chat. That's the one where he really goes in detail, or maybe not that one. Let me take that one off. Cause he says in that video, that he doesn't really go over how the preferential ballot works. I'm so sorry. The allergies are getting to me. But so let me find last year's, because I know he does kind of describe this one. Let me see.
The conclave has completed, and it's time ahead and do that right now. With only 1 point, ballot is I'm Still Here.
Okay. Yeah. This one's a little bit better. He just takes it a little bit slower. I think this year's video, he just kind of moves a little bit faster. So this is last year's video, and you can kind of see how that panned out. And so he uses real Academy voters and real ballots to make all that happen, and he's really great. I don't know the guy or anything. I just really like his content, and so I always love to shout him out whenever I get a chance, because he just makes great stuff. The one that the video that he made that I had no idea how they did was the Best Picture nominations voting. That is a whirlwind of a video, and I don't remember all the details of how that works. It is way more complex than the preferential ballot, but that's how the preferential ballot works. That is how a movie wins Best Picture at the Oscars. That is also how PGA decides their winner, which is why PGA is such an important precursor, because it doesn't always line up in terms of what will it actually win Best Picture. I mean, if you look at the stats, the PGA winner goes on to win 18 of 25 times. That's a pretty good record, but there's still a good amount of times where that doesn't always line up. But the kicker with PGA is that it is the preferential ballot. And so it just gives an early inkling into how some of these movies stack up in a preferential ballot. Now, the PGA voting body is very old, very white, and the greater Academy voting body is way more diverse, way bigger, diverse across age and race and gender. And so there's a lot more room for a Sinners to come in and upset, a lot more room for a Parasite to come in and upset 1917 or something like that. We talked about that earlier on the stream, kind of some of those comparisons. I'm glad I found your channel this year. Your information has been awesome. Thank you for all your posts. Well, that means so much. I appreciate that. The last few years or so, I've been very off and on with this YouTube channel, and honestly, doing the short form content has been really inspiring for me. Committing to doing reaction videos has been really inspiring to me and has just kept me motivated, and doing a lot of fun stuff. And because I'm getting a lot of my friends into the Oscars, and I have 2 new roommates this year that I've gotten to just ramble about how the Oscars work and how certain races have been shaping up all season. It's made me want to do that in my channel. And so thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm not monetized or anything. I do it for the love of the game. I just love the Oscars. And so that really made my night. Thank you so much for thank you for that kind comment. I really appreciate that. I might start wrapping things up if we don't have any other ideas or thoughts or comments or questions or anything like that, or just you want my thoughts on anything. I did all of this kind of on a whim. It's been a very ragtag stream. Gosh, when was the last time I even did a stream? I don't even know, man. It's been a hot second. So I was figuring stuff out again. 5 years ago. Actually, I think it was 4 years ago, because I streamed the Oscars, but I made that stream private. But this one is still public. This one was fun because I was a sophomore in college at the time, just going to community college, and we were able to reserve one of the smaller theater at my college, get down the big projector screen, and put on the Oscars, and we got everybody from the entire theater troupe there to just watch along. It's very dark and not very well lit, but you can hear a lot of people. And that was the year that Parasite won Best Picture. And so it was just a really exciting year. And I'm so glad I was streaming. I'm so glad I was streaming that because there was such a crazy year and just all of us erupted when Bong Joon-ho won director and when Parasite won picture. It was so fun. And so I don't think I'll do a live stream this year for my reactions. I'm just gonna do recordings just because I'm also hosting a little watch party this year, and so I want to be a good host and just enjoy my company. But anyways, I will for sure have a reaction video. My goal is to have my reaction video out tomorrow night. I'm gonna try and edit on the go as the award ceremony goes on, but it all just depends on how fast they announce certain categories and all of that. So we'll see. At the very latest, it'll be Monday morning. I will stay up as late as I need to Sunday night to get this thing edited and at least uploaded and ready to go public for YouTube. So there you go. Any other final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, the whole shebang? If not, we will go ahead and wrap this thing up. But if you've got anything, now is the time to do that. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. This was a lot of fun. This kind of makes me want to stream now. I mean, I play some video games. I don't want to just do chatting streams, although I could do that about movies, stuff like that, maybe watch alongs, something like that. But yeah, I don't think I would stream regularly, but you know, it being Oscars Eve, I think it was time. I think it was the right time to hop on a stream. So cool. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It has been an absolute treat having y'all here just to talk about the craziness of the Oscars. I'm anxious about tomorrow night, but I'm excited. As I was mentioning earlier, it's just a great crop of nominees for the most part this year. And so there's not really like an Oscar villain, and that makes me really happy that we have that this year, where everything just is, we're just celebrating good movies, and I'm okay with that. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all at the Oscars. That was a very awkward way to end the stream. I'm so sorry. I'm still getting used to this.